In my conversations with other people, I frequently discuss that there are two primary options at all times whenever we're interfacing. One can rise to the occasion of the higher vibration and have a positive or progressive, elevating experience, where typically compassion is involved or some type of solution-oriented support, perhaps lots of laughter, imploring any creative or fun way to feel a sense of lightness. Or option number two, people can vibrationally descend to accommodate the comfort zone of another person under the guise of thinking they're being kind, empathetic, comforting to others, displaying resonance by agreeing or taking a people-pleasing approach on some level. Or they acclimate to a negative energy that they unconsciously allow to dominate their own, believing that they were stuck in a scenario where their vibration descended because another person overwhelmed their previous pleasant state. But there are two categories. There's people who are highly aware, divinely connected, captains of their fields, meaning they're aware of what they emit and how to maintain their ship, their relationship, that ship of interrelating that they're steering in order to sail on calm and clear waters within themselves. And then there's those who haven't yet learned or not yet consistently practiced how to generate, let alone maintain, a natural high vibe state for themselves and not be at the mercy of others' projections or vibrational emanations. If you're in that category, whether you'd like to admit it or not, it means you're someone who finds yourself frequently triggered or easily irritated or very judgmental or critical in your mind, even if not outwardly expressed, or you're particularly intolerant, or you're the person who finds yourself the victim, the weaker party in the presence of stronger negative influences. You're like a sponge, vibrationally affected or infected. Or you're the person who's majorly avoidant. That's another indicator of non-proficiency or discipline deficiency in that department of vibrational maintenance, where you don't, let's say, become as affected only because you've developed a habit of shutting down, escaping, or totally avoiding people and most normal interactive scenarios through isolating yourself. And then going off and criticizing everyone else for their behavior when you yourself have no mastery over your own universe. So how can you begin to turn that around and shift into a more aware, more empowered version of yourself that was always there and ready for you to inhabit? You've got to be able to be alone and be genuinely at peace. This doesn't mean you have to be single. You can have a spouse, but you've got to give yourself time for regeneration. You've got to give yourself time to be without any type of dialogue or feedback loops with other humans, not even virtually. Because without that, you can find yourself just going from distraction to distraction, avoiding the underlying dissatisfaction. And you never look at it, you never tend to it. You've got to be able to be alone and be genuinely at peace with your solitude. Now, you're never really alone because your ancestors live inside of you, quite literally. Your guides in non-physical realms are always with you. And nature herself, nature is constantly communicating messages if you tune in. But you've got to be able to be alone and be genuinely at peace. You've also got to be able to say no when something is a no for you. When you don't align, or you're not interested, or you've changed your mind, or something doesn't light you up. Because your life force energy is the most precious currency you have. And you must exercise caution and care about how you spend it. That requires not giving a fuck, having no guilt about saying no when something is asked of you that for whatever reason you don't want to comply with, grant the request of, or participate in. You've got to be able to solidly say no. You've got to be able to recognize when someone isn't on the same page or in the same stage of life as you or at the same level of consciousness as you, to be able to recognize when that's occurring and not engage in drama or conflict or controversy when it seems to fly in your face out of nowhere, because that does happen. You know. You can be having a glorious day and you're smiling because you just saw a rainbow. Wow. And you're thankful that you can pay your bills and you're present with the moment by moment miracles of this life. Praise the Lord. And you serve others to the best of your abilities. La di da. And you will still have nonsense come at you at times. It's all opportunities for growth. But when the nonsense comes, you've got to be able to recognize when someone's not where you are, and you can't expect others to be like you or be happy for you or share in your outlook or lifestyle or embody your perspective. You've got to be able to not alter yourself when that happens, not combust. Not responding is sometimes more important than responding. There is such power in silence. But when you do engage, if that's what you choose, know in advance that some folks are going to malfunction in the presence of mindful, gentle treatment because they're unequipped. They've hit a wall within themselves and they don't know how to proceed. Their chakras and their mental field are so constipated and full of toxins. It's like the fast food consciousness or the caveman consciousness, because they're mostly functioning from their lower primal fight or flight selves. Certainly not their spiritual, heart-centered, joy and alignment and healing-oriented selves where new portals of possibility are abundant. They haven't yet been activated. They don't know how to reach new ground when there's no chaos to engage with. So a variety of things can happen. They can double down on their bitch-assness, conjure lies or distorted versions of their memories and spew them at you. All sorts of trauma responses when another person wasn't healthily loved, when that person doesn't have direct experience of healthy, lasting, loving relationships. They don't know what they don't know. And you've got to be able to recognize when that's occurring and they're not on the same page or in the same stage of life as you or at the same level of consciousness. And also that whatever else is someone else's plight and whatever they're going through, it's not your responsibility. Peace is smack center in the middle of the paradox, meaning everyone has value inherently because we're extensions of the Most High Divine Source and we exist, therefore we matter. But also, simultaneous to that truth, everyone is a prop placed there for the advancement of your consciousness and the evolution of your soul. There is only one here, and everyone revolves around the one, and you're it. Or since I'm speaking, I'm it. I and I. I and I and I and I. That's the truth of all the truths, is that you are me and I am you, and nothing has any meaning other than that which we apply to it. Let's move further and discuss what it means to have an activated heart. What's the experience of psychic resonance? How are those two things related? And what's the purpose of destruction that unfolds when an individual resists the process of growth? And we've all known a person or two who's highly resistant to growth. Their energy is crusty, they're stubborn, they're stuck in their ways. Why does destruction unfold? We'll discuss that, because you could see it sometimes before it happens, when a person's life is about to blow up in their face. We commonly see when a person's heart energy is blocked that they're avoidant of emotion, they have addictions oftentimes, habits of self-medicating, default modes of anger, they're manipulative, delusional. They project their pain onto others through bullying or criticizing or devaluing others in attempts to exalt themselves, to keep the focus off their own trauma and turmoil, anything to keep the spotlight from shining on their inner world. They attempt to think their way or numb their way out of the experience of being truly alive. Being truly alive means being in touch with your natural feelings and being able to healthily respond to what arises. We can identify when a person's heart is activated because they exude empathy, kindness, and compassion. They communicate calmly and with divine assertion. They maximize upon the present moment in creative and enjoyable ways. They have an ongoing desire to serve their loved ones and be of service somehow to the collective. They listen to what others convey energetically, not just what is spoken verbally, because most people's words are laced with hidden messages, deeper needs, and deeper sentiments calling out from underneath layers of pain, cloaked thoughts, and repressed emotions. An activated heart senses the undercurrents, subtleties, and truths. Each of us has psychic abilities, whether you've tapped into that part of yourself or not. It's natural, and my own natural psychic abilities have strengthened every year. Why do I mention this? Because when I'm contacted at this point, it could be through an email, it could be contact through a text message, a phone call, or in person. I quickly, through my natural psychic abilities, become connected to the individual's intentions. I become connected and tuned into their primary conditioned beliefs and the vibrational frequency from which their communication is transmitted, their mindset, their mood. This makes it easier to navigate daily life due to the intuitive experience of knowing what is true and good on a cellular level within and beyond the nervous system, via a confirming resonance which transcends just mental activity alone or physical sensations and is sourced from pure and unfiltered planes of higher consciousness. What does this mean for us? It means that whenever we trust what the Most High presents to us, regularly practice trusting what the Most High presents to us, there are rarely concerns or worries. You will receive clear guidance of yes or no, right or wrong, serve or surrender. Serve meaning give energy to this, or surrender meaning let go, do not engage. It's like having a superpower to see directly through deception, beyond the veil of illusion, above the mainstream strange dream of cyclic, mechanical, egocentric, nonsensical, control-obsessed, desperation and fear-based, self-perpetuated mania amid a traumatized species, long stuck in fight or flight, in disconnection and unremembrance, but now going through a great awakening and softening. Resistance is futile. This process of growth will continue to unfold, if you haven't already noticed, more and more rapidly. The part each person plays, by way of their free will, is to allow themselves to be taken on such a river ride, getting onto their raft with grace, knowing it will lead to deeper, perhaps more transformational waters, but that they will be equipped to navigate that place or that space at that time. Or they can choose to run. And if they choose to run from themselves, their true self, if they resist the process of growth, a tsunami will come. Destruction inevitably happens in the name of rebuilding one's external reality through an often excruciating internal overhaul. And we may wonder why. Why does our rigidly crafted, tightly clung to, in our mind, protective little world have to get destroyed, reconfigured through means of internal overhauls and cosmically orchestrated cellular hacking and psychological reorganization, emotional upheavals and spiritual cleansing? Well, because this is a forward movement universe, and we're on Earth for the growth of the soul. But we decide, thankfully, if we're conscious through the process, we decide how many bricks, so to speak, need to fall before we pay attention fully, how many towers must crash down, how many boulders upon us. We decide how many times to endure a repeating nightmare before finally and consciously choosing within that state of fear or pain to wake up. And we can wake up inside the dream. The dream or nightmare will always comply. It will shift, adjusting itself to fit what is commanded of it, because the circumstances and settings and characters within it are not the ruler. There's only one ruling force. Thus, the dream or nightmare must obey what the conscious projector dictates onto the screen of his or her vivid and seemingly real holographic existence. Knowing this is part of the reason why this can be the best life for you, and why it can become richer and more beautifully dreamlike. When one has an activated heart, they'll have more experiences of flow and psychic resonance, and they'll know that their heart is activated because they exude empathy, kindness, and compassion on a regular basis. A person communicates calmly and with divine assertion on a regular basis. They maximize upon the present moment in creative and enjoyable ways on a regular basis. They have an ongoing desire to serve their loved ones and be of service to the whole, and they listen to what others convey energetically, not just what is spoken verbally. An activated heart senses the undercurrents, subtleties, and truths. So every day becomes a masterclass in mysticality. Mysticality meaning alchemizing the mundane into magic, or infusing magic into the mundane, basically being the physical bridge between the lighter heavenly realms and denser material planes. Every day becomes a masterclass in playfulness, lightheartedness, finding the humor, seeing the humor in this human play, and remembering lucid, multidimensional, supernatural living. Because lucid, multidimensional, supernatural living is our truest potential when we're purified and unafflicted. It's all about awareness, the will of the soul, and what we consciously choose. What do you choose right now? Is your heart activated? Do you rise to the occasion of the higher vibration?